What's on Your Minda contains honest, intimate, and uncensored depictions of mental health issues and experiences. Content and trigger warnings can be found in the description for each episode. Welcome back to another episode of What's on Your Minda? Today we wanted to continue from last month's episode about Harry Potter.
Yes.
And I thought since we're kind of dressed for the occasion...
Can you guess? Can you take a hint? Hint. What is the topic about today?
First
if you don't
comment
read the title.
wins. Wait, but then they would see the title, they would see all our clips, so it's fine.
It's okay. It's for fun.
It is. We wanted to talk a little bit more about Slytherin
Yes.
and what this evil house does for the people within it,
Yeah.
or even the people outside of it, you know?
Yeah. The impact of getting stereotyped as evil,
Exactly.
right?
Because you imagine you go to Hogwarts, you got your acceptance letter, you're 11, okay?
I'm imagining.
Imagine, okay, you are not associated with any powerful or evil... Who's honking out there?
Hello. I'm imagining.
Okay, imagine this. You're not associated with any powerful or evil sort of wizards or dark wizards in your family. You just know that Hogwarts has like 4 houses, right? And you're like, what house am I gonna get? I'm 11 years old. I'm going to school for the first time. You get to school, sorting ceremony in front of everybody, your peers, your seniors, the teachers.
Okay.
Get the sorting hat on, and it says, you're in Slytherin. And you know the reputation of this house.
Damn, does that mean I'm evil?
Yeah. What would the poor kids be like thinking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole scene in the first movie with Harry, right? He was like, any house except Slytherin.
Yeah.
And he was like, why not Slytherin? You know? Well, in fact, he was gonna get Slytherin anyways because it's half Voldemort inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
Just FYI.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Spoiler, if you watch our previous one, we didn't spoil anything.
I just dropped the biggest spoiler of all.
Voldemort inside of him.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, I was wondering, do you think that's the only reason he was almost slotted into Slytherin?
At least that was my first impression.
Mm.
What about you? What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like if we had to analyze it a bit more, I wonder if maybe there were aspects of his personality and upbringing. Remember we talked about his ability to adapt and form a personality after being abused by his relatives. And he became more of this like snarky, sassy type of person.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was also there.
Yeah. Embedded with him inside, but it's just that the environment brought it out, right?
Exactly. Like that kind of like survival instincts, the sort of cunning he needed to run away from Dudley all the time, avoid him, or even like, get him back sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
Good for him.
Good for him.
Defend yourself against bullies.
Say no to bullying.
No. Do you think that each house has its own personality and characteristics for you to be chosen into the house? I think maybe it's a spectrum. Like maybe there's it's not as black and white to say like, okay, you're 100% Gryffindor, or like you're 100% Slytherin. I do think maybe there's bits and parts of ourselves that in all 4 houses, perhaps.
It's kind of like those personality tests, right?
Yeah.
That just because you get a certain result, it doesn't mean you are forever that person or that personality that's associated with it, but more of a way to understand what your strongest traits are. So I think you got something there where maybe for each house, they do have their own particular traits, but the strongest one.
Yeah, the foundation traits.
Exactly.
Because I can't imagine like everyone in Slytherin being the same.
Yeah.
Or like everyone in Gryffindor being the same. I do think everyone is different and they have their own individualities.
Yeah.
It's just probably like maybe at the core there are some similarities. Maybe their values are also different, but within the same house they have similar values.
Yeah. Actually, even if we just look at the Gryffindors, because obviously Gryffindor was the house that was
glorified.
Yes, but also expanded on.
Okay. I know. What happened to the other
The
houses?
most, right?
Damn.
Like every single main character is in Gryffindor.
Maybe that's why they're the main characters.
Maybe if you want to say like main character energy goes into Gryffindor.
Perhaps.
We look at the people in Gryffindor, like the difference between Harry, Ron, Hermione, Neville,
Yeah.
right? Seamus, Finnegan.
Right. They're all very different.
Yeah, even literally, okay, the same family, the whole Weasley family, being in Gryffindor, it shows that that's the strongest trait, but they are so different.
Yeah.
Like Fred and George.
The first image that came to my mind
Yeah.
was when the hat didn't even touch Ron's head. And
Like
was
barely, like-
I can just smell you and you're definitely Gryffindor.
Yeah, because you're a Weasley.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your red hair, you know.
Do you know if there's anyone from any house? Anyone from a specific family that's actually in different houses?
Oh, this is going back to, I believe, the Marauders time, where Harry's dad and stuff. I think Sirius Black was in Gryffindor and his brother Regulus was in
it's a
Slytherin.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
So it's not
Yeah.
so.
I don't think so.
There's no
yeah.
fixed rule to it, right?
Yeah. What house are you in?
I'm in Ravenclaw.
Tell us, what are the traits of Ravenclaw house?
Honestly, I don't remember. To be fair, right? I feel like I've taken the test too many times that I almost like wanted to curate my answer. So at first, when I was a young child, I was like, I want to be in Gryffindor. I will answer that I'm brave and all these things.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Sorry.
Same though. Same.
Yeah.
I was like, how can I get into Gryffindor? Like my friend Harry Potter.
Yeah. And like Hermione, I want to be just like her and things like that. And then I think eventually I had my villain era. I was like, ooh.
Slytherin.
Yeah, from sun to moon. But yes, but then eventually, when I've gotten both forcedly curated. I've gotten to a point I'm like, okay, you know what? Just answer honestly. I'm actually Ravenclaw. So Ravenclaw's house values embody traits like intelligence, learning, wisdom, wit, creativity, and originality. So they're
Love
known
that.
for being eccentric, outspoken, and for thinking outside of the box.
It does sound like Diana.
That's so sweet. Thank
For
you.
example, when I asked her what the traits of Ravenclaw house are, she had to Google it to get the right answer.
Yeah,
Right?
we want the right answer.
You're curious. You just
Yeah.
want to learn and know everything, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. Same thing as you. I wanted to be Gryffindor, and then I so badly wanted to be Ravenclaw
Oh, how come?
because I feel like as someone who read a lot, as someone who was like very like I don't know, like I associated myself with being very smart when I was younger, right?
You are, by the way.
Thank you, but I had to unlearn a lot of negative stuff about it.
Moment of silence.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So I wanted to be Ravenclaw, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like same thing I did one day. I was like, let me just do what I feel natural. Like what feels natural to me. Let's just try it and see what I get. I thought I was gonna get Hufflepuff, and I got Slytherin.
I think it's the rising in you, the Hufflepuff Leoness.
Makes sense.
Please don't post that. Credibility, phew.
Yeah,
So
we
that's-
believe in astrology.
As a joke, ironically. Or maybe not. Disclaimer. But anyways, continue. This is getting more unhinged than I thought.
It always is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am in Slytherin house. At first I was like, why? I don't want to be here. It's the evil house. Like,
Yeah.
literally what we're just talking about. It's the evil house. I don't want to be in the evil house.
I get that.
But it's sort of like, again, it is just a personality test to show what your strongest traits are. If you don't mind, dear Ravenclaw, could you Google for me
Of course.
what the Slytherin house traits are?
I'll
Because
be
it
glad to.
actually does not equate to evil.
Yeah. it
Very
does not.
surprisingly. Contrary to popular belief.
Betul? True. So, Slytherin house embody traits of ambition, cunning, resourcefulness, and determination, often associated with a strong sense of self-preservation and a desire for achievement. I agree. One thing I said about Amanda, she's damn resourceful. Okay. She's super resourceful. So true. How accurate is that? And if you look at the characters in Harry Potter who are Slytherin, like for example Snape.
Yeah.
Wow. Cunning. Honestly, do you believe that what were your
that he
thoughts?
was a
Which side?
double, triple, quadruple agent?
Yeah. I was so confused. There was a time I'm like, no, can't trust him.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, nah. And then I'm like,
because it went back and forth so many times. It went from he's good now, he's a former Death Eater, blah blah blah, and then that part where they were like, no, he's still working with them.
Yeah.
All of us were like, what? No, he's been there the whole time. And then later, the triple agent came out.
Yeah.
And we're like,
wait
a minute.
And like when he killed Dee Dumbledore.
Of course.
That was when I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, like
I really
that
thought
made me truly believe he was on the bad side.
Yeah.
Already, right?
Summer trait, same, yeah.
But then later he turned around and was like, no, Dumbledore asked him to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And the tear scene with all the memories. The truth finally revealed itself. That's so sad.
So he was like cunning in that way. Like that's his main trait of cunning. But ambition makes a lot of sense because why did he enter the Death Eaters in the first place?
True. And I also think part of the resourcefulness is also the fact that he's so good with potions.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't rely on just magic.
He's actually a really great
Good
potions master.
He was the Half-Blood Prince.
He was the Half-Blood Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to see, like, when you dig deeper, it's not just Snape, he did these things, but beneath that, who was he? Years of being the potions professor, years of being a double agent.
Yeah.
Like, what else was he like? We saw some backstory for him and how he was so close with Lily,
Yeah.
right? But what happened then? Like, the whole bullying, like, why did he call her a M word?
What was the M word?
Mud.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he did. I forgot about that.
I mean, Harry's father was a bully.
I know.
Again, okay, Gryffindor people are not always good, are they?
Honestly, my impression, the stereotype in my head of Gryffindors is that they are...
The jocks.
Yeah.
Like the bullying jocks.
Exactly, the popular people. Look at me. And then, like, the Slytherins are like, you're annoying. And they're the only ones who are, okay to stand up to them and be like, you're annoying. Because if you think about it, actually, the way Malfoy was trying to introduce himself to Harry was... He introduced himself to Harry. Hi, I'm Malfoy. Like, let's be friends. Although, yes, he did it in a way of, like...
Putting down
Ron. But the way Harry responded was that, yeah, I'm better than you. You think you're better than everyone. Let me show you you're not better than everyone.
Yeah.
So he could have been like, hey, that's not nice. Sure, I don't want to be friends with you if you're going to be like that.
Yeah, you could have said something,
Yeah.
Rather than, I think I can tell the right sort for myself, thanks.
Oh my gosh. You have to post that. That's so good.
But, like, I don't know if you recall this in the books for the first one. He actually met Draco before in the robe shop when they were fitting for their robes. And he didn't say a thing, but Draco was pattering on about, like, all of these things, the houses in Hogwarts, and that's how he actually knows about the houses from that. But he also was talking down about people. He talked bad about Hagrid, and for Harry, Hagrid was like the only person who showed him kindness.
Yeah.
So I think he immediately became defensive.
Yeah.
So when he did actually say like, "Oh, you're Harry Potter, I need to make this connection," he was like, "I think I can handle it
for myself."
Thanks. I don't think that's the actual line. I think it's a bit different. But anyway.
But also on that note, right? That really just shows how Malfoy is cunning and resourceful.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, this is a person who, I don't know what he assumed about Harry, but we can only assume that, he's the chosen one. He's Harry Potter, the one who survived, right? probably has so much fame and so many people who knows him and things like that, so much connections.
Yes.
So he's just like, okay, this is a friend that's worth to make. Maybe friendships is calculative, is a strategic game.
Yes.
Or strategic, you need to be strategic about it, I guess.
Yes.
So even the part where they used the, what do you call that? They were trying to saludope or smuggle Death Eaters into the school.
Oh, the vanishing cabinet.
Right. I thought that was super smart.
Yeah.
Something about Death Eaters, or I guess the stereotype of Slytherins, always gave me such a wow. They're such deep thinkers, or they're willing to do anything, to get the job done, and they're willing to expand or try things that we might not even consider.
I think then that makes sense with like when what our question was of like, why is there an evil house? It's not an evil house. It's just that if you were to be sorted there and you had certain goals, you would probably be okay with doing them in not the most moral way.
Yeah.
And that's usually how people consider what evil is.
Yeah.
Immorality.
True.
Without moral sense. I
And
suppose.
even that is subjective.
Yeah.
Because if you were to ask someone who might think like, oh, as long as this person's not hurt, or I'm finding some way to cheat the system and so forth, like no one gets hurt, what's wrong with that?
That helps us understand a bit more about just because you are in Slytherin doesn't mean you're evil.
Yeah.
But we brought up a few people that I think I would love to go a bit deeper into, like Snape and
Yes.
Draco. Because
Yes.
these two are Slytherins.
Yes.
They actually had very different situations,
Yep.
despite being a part of the same sort of group.
Yes.
Right.
What are the differences you're talking about?
I mean, well, one is an adult,
Okay, yeah, a child.
and one's a child. One's a half-blood. The
Oh,
other's
yeah.
pure blood.
Yes.
One grew up without like a lot of support.
Okay.
And it was very, very lonely in that sense of like not having friends or not having a family, right?
Right.
Actually, I don't know much about. I don't remember what his backstory was with his
Same.
family.
There wasn't much, or maybe there was, but I forgot.
But then Draco was born into this wealthy family. He had all he could want, essentially, and he was sort of put into this position as a child of a Death Eater,
Right.
and he was made to participate in evil.
Activities.
Yeah.
I know. The first thing I'm thinking about is how scared he must have felt, but he's unable to express that because it's
Yeah.
not being accepted.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
he doesn't want to be seen as weak.
or he could be killed. His
Yes,
family could
exactly.
be killed if he's not
Exactly.
doing that. So
Yeah, and we can really, really see him, like I would say, like quote unquote cracking when he
in
was
the 6th movie.
when he was pressured to kill Dumbledore.
Yes.
And you can really see in his. I think the actor's really great. The physical embodiment of getting so mentally tortured
Yeah.
to do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so-
Draco Malfoy was just this poised person, like very well put together all the time.
Yeah.
Super like posh and snobby.
Yeah.
But you see how far he went and how different he was by the end of that movie. He was just not the same person. He was so bedraggled. He was so like timid. Like he closed off a lot. He wasn't as loud and like
Obnoxious.
as before.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to see that even within this like sort of evil sphere,
Yeah.
you can have people who do not want to do it, but they have to do it.
Yeah.
And they choose between, do I do this evil thing or do I let this evil person kill me and my family?
Yes.
What choice would you make, audience? If it was me, a Slytherin.
I know what you would do.
What? Pray tell.
Yeah, you will get the job done.
That's true. That's true.
Simple. It's like it's not even a question, right? It's like, yeah, whatever, I'll just numb it out.
Yeah.
I'll dissociate while doing it. Do what you gotta do, right? That's the
true.
Slytherin theme. That's the Slytherin vibe of principal traits.
Yeah.
What do you think I would do?
I feel like you would try to figure out another solution.
You are so right. I would. Exactly.
I know, yeah.
It's like, oh, you give me 1 or 2 options. No, I'll be thinking about
Like,
third or
cannot
fourth.
have to be something in the middle, have to be
Yes.
some other option to do it. Like,
Yeah.
I know you definitely do that.
Exactly. I'm like, maybe. But I won't be as sloppy as what's that guy, Wormtail. I think he tried to do that in one of the parts where it was like, okay, I'm gonna pretend I killed someone. No, you're gonna be thorough, clean, because you're not messing with anyone. You're messing with the Voldemort, who can go into people's minds.
Yes.
And see into your dreams and secrets. Can you imagine, like, how that must have been like for Snape himself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's so good at legitimacy?
Yeah, the practice.
He had to.
like, how? Whoa, just imagine you're like almost creating false memories,
Yes.
so that Voldemort will believe this is what's happening. Damn.
Oh my gosh, speaking of which, maybe that's why he was such a bitch to Harry and his friends.
Because?
Because he had to make them believe that he was still
Oh yeah, he was part of it.
against them. Maybe he had a lot of evil thoughts.
Yeah.
And that was why he became such a goddamn bully.
And I think it's just part of the persona or the mask he's
Yeah.
carrying.
But, I mean, maybe he was. We don't know. We don't know if it's just a mask or if it's really him. And
or it
he-
just could be just repressed, suppressed anger and hurt. I'm like, when I look at you, Harry, I see the face of my bully.
Exactly.
Could just be that.
Yeah, it could just be that. That's true.
Sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I really think it's that. You know why? Because also moments when he does look at Harry, when he does push Harry, he also takes a step back. Why? Because he looks at his eyes and he sees Lily's eyes. Damn sad.
It is.
Yeah. So
But he was still an adult man, bullying
True.
a child.
true.
Two things can be true at once. The duality of Snape.
Yes. Yeah, we can also see a shift, right? Like, I think when he first met Lily, he was still a very reserved, shy, quiet person.
Yeah.
But then it got even worse. Like, not say worse, but he got even more quiet and more
Yeah.
isolated and reserved.
When he was being bullied and
Yeah.
stuff. Because then he sort of split from his childhood friend. She
yeah.
was in Gryffindor, he was in Slytherin.
Yeah.
And so he had to sort of be alone. I don't know. I mean, I don't have enough information right now to know if he tried to make friends in his house,
Yeah.
or was he as reserved and quiet and shy as we saw in the memories,
Yeah.
that he probably didn't have any friends at all, and he only would like try to get to hang out with Lily when he could. That means he was lonely the rest of the time.
Yeah. That's what I'm curious about, the backstory before he even met Lily.
Because we analyzed Voldemort, and we analyzed his upbringing and what led to him becoming like that. It is very interesting to see how Snape became a double agent as well.
Yeah.
Because typically when you say like, oh, he's a double agent, he's a spy, people will be like, oh, he's a snake, he's like treacherous, right? He can't be trusted. But he did it for the right reasons at the end. Even if it was for love at first, for Lily.
But still, in the end, who's the real manipulator here?
Dumbledore. This is the Dumbledore hate club. Just so you know.
He's just enabling his love for Snape's love for Lily. It's like, you gotta do it for the child. Like,
And we even see him say like he knew about the Horcrux thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you're leading him to slaughter.
exactly.
You know?
And
And he was just like, no, when the time is right.
it's those old boomers who believe in prophecies. Just meet up, the both of you, battle it out, and call it done. But that won't be all 7 books, won't that be? So it's okay.
I want to read the first book.
Yeah, that's fine. It's all over.
It's all over.
A prequel to that.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not
I
talking
know.
about Dumbledore today.
We're not. He doesn't deserve screen to airtime. No.
No more.
No.
No more than he has already had.
That's why.
Anyway, back to Mr. Snape.
What are your feelings and thoughts about him?
I still okay. Like, my main feeling about him is still that he is an adult man who is emotionally immature, and he bullied these kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Simple.
Straight
to the facts.
But I also can see his, like, I can understand and empathize with his story. And like what led him to do the things he did, from the Death Eater stuff.
Right.
Like, I cannot empathize with that he chose to bully kids, basically be a terrible person to kids, right?
Like, he's such in a bad mood all the time.
Exactly.
That's what you mean? The
Yeah.
emotional maturity?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Like, Snape is someone who could have definitely benefited from therapy.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
aren't such a thing, is there?
Everyone, the people will send to therapy. Snape, Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Dumbledore, prisoner of Azkaban first, then therapy for the crimes.
Not Prisoner of Azkaban, just Azkaban.
All right.
Sorry. Send him to that movie.
If you just, yeah.
Anyway,
The
enough
level
screen time
of
about.
manipulation and enabling. It's like,
We can't stop talking about how much we hate him.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say I hate him. I would say, like, I'm just in awe at how much he actually manipulated people. Like, it felt like he was the puppet master.
Yeah.
Like, everything felt so calculated from the start.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, you must be really. What is Dumbledore's house?
Gryffindor.
There you go.
So, conclusion, not everybody who gets sorted into Slytherin is evil, and not everybody who gets sorted into Gryffindor is good. Feel free to debate us at Minda Psychology on Instagram.
Yes.
And while you're there, like and follow us.
Yes. And comment.
And comment your thoughts. Anyway.
Actually, I want to talk about Draco.
Can?
I want to talk about the very fact that you said he's a child, and he's like a literal byproduct of what he learned, from what he saw. You know, the down talking, the rudeness, the "I'm better than you" attitude is exactly mirroring his own father.
Exactly.
Like,
just because he has money and he gave all of that, he wasn't the best caring father to this poor boy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's also another thing I wanted to highlight, that they were not close actually. Like, and that relationship between Malfoy and his dad is actually not a safe relationship.
It's not a healthy dynamic.
No.
Actually, even though they weren't close, it seemed like Draco always would want his validation and approval.
Yes.
Which is a very interesting thing.
Hence
when you
the
see
mirroring,
it.
I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To sort of act in that way, be like that, make powerful connections, right? Because his father was doing all of that in the ministry.
Yes.
So
you're saying in doing all of that is his attempt to actually get his father's validation.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. You're a child. You look at your dad. You think your dad's your role model. This person that you want to be, and someone that you look up to and you respect. So you don't really even question the ways that these people, that maybe your parents, or in this case Draco's dad, behaved.
Yeah.
But you can also see, I think it's like almost like symbolic, that the way at the end of Draco's storyline is he walks away with his mom, and the dad follows at the back.
Yeah.
It's like a physical representation of the proximity of their relationship.
Yeah.
You know that, and in the end he was like, you know what? When it really came down to it, the person I really trusted, or the person who would fight for my life, is my mom. And she did. She did. You know, she made a really risky move.
Yeah.
You know, in order to save her son, to know which side should I pick on. And she decided, okay, the war, my part is done. You know, I'm going to take my son and I'm out of this. You know, so
I actually, to point that out, I think what Narcissa did was really, really empowering to know as a Slytherin.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, she has been with the Death Eaters the whole time. But in that moment, you see that the only reason she was there with the Death Eaters was because of family. And now that if she had this chance to save her family and know if her son was okay and alive, this is what she's going to do. She's going to betray this extremely powerful dark wizard who's standing right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Cunningness, resourcefulness.
Exactly. And like pretend and turn around and go, dead.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Like straight face.
Straight
Nothing.
face, amazing.
She did not stutter. Okay.
Knowing that Voldemort is such a powerful
Mind
reader.
Yeah.
She knew what she had to do and she knew how to do it
Too,
in
yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
That's amazing, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And also like with thinking about the characters and how it's like there are different versions of a Slytherin person. I felt like that also shows the two differences between, not the two differences, but like the kind of mesh of like Malfoy from his dad and from his mother.
True.
You know, I do think that when we see him struggling with the pressure from Voldemort, that's when they're also dwelling on what is the boundary for me, like what matters to me and what my values are, how far am I willing to go and to get it done. And yeah, you know, and I do think that because he struggled was because you can see it's because the foundation of what he had, the relationship he had with his dad was not as shallow, as empty.
Yeah.
It just looked good on paper. They look good together because they look the same. But when he was struggling, it's like, no, you're alone. You got to deal with it by yourself. You know,
Like, you are now responsible for our family's like safety and well-being.
Yes.
With this in the Death Eaters.
You know, and then you can see he's so reluctant also. You know, but his dad keeps forcing and pushing.
Yeah. But I think at the beginning he was proud.
Yeah.
To be a part of it. But then later when he really found out what they were doing,
Yeah.
then it was like, oh, this is
Maybe.
war. Like, this
Yeah.
is actually bad stuff.
And people are dying.
Yeah.
And I as much as I don't like them, or as much as I'm, you know, annoying and not annoying, as much as I dislike them, I don't want them dead.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Draco's one of those people where it's all talk and no bite.
Yeah, that's what I mean by shallow. Not to say shallow, but
But it's true. It's like even his father, I feel like he is only like brave or powerful if you are weaker than him.
yeah.
And that is in terms of like status or like your size, your age, that kind of stuff.
Which is why the whole scene or the whole situation with Dobby
Yeah.
is so satisfying. Because it's like, oh no.
Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free. That's the best scene. So good. Back to Draco.
Okay. You have any thoughts about Draco?
I actually really like Draco as a character because he's so flawed.
Oh.
You know,
What do you mean?
like as he's a compelling character to watch because it's not like he's so evil and powerful and confident in it, and he's not so good and confident in that. He's such a flawed, like middle ground. Like he kind of comes off a bit as a coward sometimes, where you're like, oh, he's only doing it because he's scared, right?
Not sometimes. A lot of
Sometimes, right? Like that's how he's portrayed.
Yeah.
But I like that it is portrayed. Because there's a lot of people, especially in these kind of wars, that would do things because they're scared.
Yeah.
You know, like who else would be in that position at that moment? A lot of other people would choose either one. Like, I'll do the good thing or you can kill me, I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
Or I'll do the very bad thing and I'll become very bad.
Yes.
But like Draco's always towing the line. Like he's like scared to do this and scared to do that. I feel like seeing that is a very good representation of the normal person
yeah.
in the midst of war.
True. I agree.
Right?
I agree. He is you know what, when I think about it, he is very, very real.
Yeah.
You know, a real person who is like, you know, we all have our insecurities and he's trying his best to like stand up or, you know, do his best in whatever capacity he can.
Yes.
You know, he's literally the embodiment of do things even when you're afraid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I think for that reason, I think he's one of my I don't know, favorite characters. I don't have to say, like, characters that are important to me, I feel, because he represents that for us. And you see from his upbringing, like, how much he's been influenced by the parents and the people around him to think that pure blood is the only way, like everyone else is bad, right?
Yeah.
And he actually would say that he projects it to Hermione, especially because she's Muggle-born.
Yep.
Right? But at the end of the day, he's just a child.
Yeah, who does not know any better?
Where do racist kids learn their racist behavior from their racist parents? True. Yeah. But I guess that's that, right? Where you can't just say that everyone who gets sorted into Slytherin is evil.
Yes.
In the same way, you can't say that just because you get a certain personality test result, you are that forever. You can make choices. We all have free will enough to decide.
True.
And
I
make
agree.
Choices.
I love that. That is the light of hope. You know, that things can change, even though, you know, there are parts of you that you want to change, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Diana. But if you have any other thoughts about Harry Potter, we are always open to hearing about it because we love discussing this so much.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure there's so many other aspects of it that we haven't talked about. We will put a pause on this for now and talk about other media, of course. But if you feel like revisiting this with us one day, let us know. You can reach out to us on Instagram at Minda Psychology, or you can email us at hello@mindapsychology, or just visit our website for more information at mindapsychology.com. With that, this has been another episode of What's on Your Minda? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!